All right, let's get on with the actual pod now. The not so chill foundation.
It's not chill. That is true.
Yeah, it's sunburned, more like it. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Was It Good, the podcast that reviews movies and TV shows. I'm Rob. Oh, fuck. How do I do this? I go with the Was It Good, what we're talking about, and then I introduce.
Then you say your brother Day.
Right. Welcome to Was It Good, the podcast that reviews movies and TV shows. Today we're talking Foundation, Season 2, Episode 1. I'm Ravi, joined by my two brothers,
Arjuna.
Krishna.
and our producer,
Michael.
And we are Was It Good?
Whoa.
Krishna.
I
Where
am
was that?
Brother Dusk.
Oh boy.
I am Brother Dawn.
Everybody's doing their own thing.
Here's my question for you guys as we're talking about foundation. What color foundation do you wear?
I am Brother Michael.
And we are Was It Good? Nailed it.
And we are all having a separate conversation in our
This
heads.
is that real early Saturday morning energy right now.
Ooh.
Or Friday night. Who knows when we film this?
This is true. This is true. The lighting here is all 50%
The sunlight,
artificial.
the sunlight's artificial.
It is. I don't. So you guys know my whole thing about dinosaurs, taking a step further with evolution, and now I've been thinking about the sun.
And how it doesn't exist.
Let's wrap this pod fast.
You're practically a flat earther at this point.
I mean,
Everything
I
you're
was
saying is pointing to that.
I was considering. So Lauren has a birthday coming up soon. So shout out to her for
Oh, and who's Lauren?
running around the
Who's Lauren
planet
to
one more
you?
time, or the solar system one more time. So that's my wife, and I was like, oh, what
My wife.
what we could do for her birthday? I was like, oh, why don't we like jump out of a plane?
And
Oh,
did she say
what'd she
absolutely
say?
not?
She hasn't really given me a yes or no, but part of the reason I want to do it is because, to Christian's point about the flat Earth,
What, you want to prove it to yourself, or?
I want to disprove it to myself.
Oh. Do you want to disprove gravity while you're at it? While you're up there, you're like, hey, look, you know what? Gravity.
Have you ever
Is that
heard?
real? How's
have
that
you
work?
have you ever heard Paul Pierce's logic for why he thinks the Earth is flat?
No.
So his logic had to do with airplanes, and he was like, if the Earth was round, how come it takes me 6 hours to get from one end of the country to the other? It's like, if it's rotating, I would just go up and it would rotate, and in an hour I'd be there. But instead, I fly, and it takes me 6 hours. So therefore, he said the Earth is flat.
Wait, how does he know that it doesn't just take the Earth that long to rotate under him?
the
like,
logic
you're
is
backing
completely
out.
flawed.
There's no point in trying
Completely
to.
flawed.
There's no point in trying to logic Paul Pierce's logic here. I mean, it's.
Yeah, Paul Pierce is not known to be the most logical individual.
Yeah.
Speaking, this is a great segue into individuals who don't have a lot of logic.
Oh.
I don't know. Do I say producers, writers? Who do I talk about with the structure of the first episode of this season?
Oh, that's a whole creative
I
team.
did not like the structure. I'll start there in terms
okay.
of pacing, not Lee pace, but the pacing. Wasn't
The
a big
Lee pace was exquisite.
Lee pace. That opening with him just ass naked running around. Good for you, guy. Like,
Yeah, I want to know what his whey protein supplement is, because
I want to know what his workout regimen is.
I thought you were going to say something else.
yeah.
I
wanna know what his
too
wang
many
looks
silhouette
like.
shots and too many above the waist shots.
Just go full frontal.
Yeah,
why not, right?
it's Apple TV. It's not network.
That's true,
They
actually.
can do anything
They
they,
can do
want.
Whatever the fuck they want.
Apple's
Yeah.
never claimed to be a family company.
I'm trying to. I don't think so. Yeah. They've
Just
never
a
said-
private
Think
company.
different. But Ravi, pacing, not Lee pace. What?
It felt like we were.
Is
in
that
some
your one-word
areas-
impression?
I'm going to say actually yes, pacing because of Lee pace, but then the actual pacing of the episode. I feel we spent sometimes too much time in certain areas and not enough time in other areas that I wanted to be.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you watch some content
At the dusk.
at the dusk while
Or
the
the
dawn
dawn.
is coming. Because you watch content because you want to be entertained. You want to explore the areas of the show that you find cool. You don't really care about necessarily all that character development.
This is not the show for you.
This is true. This is very true.
This show is very character development-y.
Right, but in this, I don't know why, but this particular episode so far, I just felt like there was just too much of it, and it felt very unnecessary. And it just kind of dragged.
Yeah, to me, this is the first season came out in the tail end of 2021. I believe it premiered in October sometime.
Yeah.
So it's been almost 2 years since the first season came out. So this episode very much felt like spoiler alert or peel back behind the curtain for the audience.
Or rip your face off like that.
I watched the whole first season for the first time. I had seen the first few episodes because we did the premiere of season 1 all together, and then you guys with Michael did the season 1 finale. And so I was watching it really for the first time. I went right into season 2, and the season 2 premiere really felt more of like a recap, right? Of like a catch me up. It's been a couple years since the show was on. Let's kind of reset the board. We'll follow up with where everybody is. And there's stuff that's happening, but I wouldn't say it's like major stuff happening.
Right.
It's more of just like we're kind of dropping you back into the world after a couple years.
Which is also interesting too, because it's 138 years in the story.
Yeah.
Right. That's a lot of time has moved on. Our Cleons that we knew in the first season, granted, we knew like 5 or 6 different Cleons over the course of a couple decades, and then now we've got brand new Cleons, so they're all very, very new to us.
All the characters on Terminus are gone from the season 1. They're all, well, unless maybe someone's been cryogenically put to sleep. We'll see. But yeah, it seemingly seems like they're all at this point dead.
So like really, we're only following or I guess you could say we have 4 characters that we ended the last season with who are with us, which is that's gonna be
Harry. It's gonna be
Gaal, Salvor,
and the robot Ito. Demerzel. Is that how you say her name? Demerzel.
That sounds like
Demerzel.
Dalmatian.
battery.
Dermatology.
Battery. Yeah,
it's Demerzel.
Demerzel.
So
Am I saying that right?
No, Demerzel.
Demerzel.
Not Dem.
Demerzel.
Like Dem.
Damnation. So I think to your points, since you both have recently rewatched season 1, what you're saying makes perfect sense, because I was saying just before this pod, I was like, oh, I wish I had rewatched season 1, and now hearing you guys talk, maybe it's good that I didn't, because I thought episode 1 was great. It's exactly what I needed, actually, to get back into this world. Because it's been 2 years since I watched anything Foundation, right? So yeah, that's very interesting. Pace. My one-word impression would be scenario, because what I got from this first episode is what I think makes Foundation so interesting, which are these like really epic sci-fi scenarios playing out. The 3 main ones being using math to predict the future of humanity, what happens when a genetically perfect ruler becomes defective, and how that's going to manifest, and then the third one being the size of space, have that manifest, like what happens if you met your mother and she's younger than you, right? Based on, and those to me are very interesting scenarios, sci-fi scenarios specifically. And the Foundation, probably maybe more so than any other sci-fi, has done, I thought, a really good job of like taking these scenarios, playing them out in a story, and seeing where we go with it. So, scenario.
Actually, I'm going to tack on to that real quick, where your third point about time and how big space is, and obviously that, like you said, we see that with Gaal and with,
Salvor.
I want to say Salvador
Hardin.
so badly, but that's not.
Do it. Go ahead. Nobody's going to arrest you. Say Salvador.
There you go. Salvor.
Salvor.
God damn it. I can't even get it right. Anyway, yeah, based on like that third thing, and yeah, like Richard said, with time and space and how large it is, et cetera, and like we're getting this interesting, conversation between the two of them. That's, I think, where I had a lot of pacing issues, is because I felt like we We get it. It's awkward as fuck. Move on.
Do
something.
They didn't do. I felt differently actually. I felt like that was the stuff I wanted more of, and the stuff that felt weird to me in this episode, and this will be my one word impression, is Empire. It's the Empire stuff. I thought that first scene where you're with our new Cleon the 17th, just like going to town
With the robot?
with the robot lady.
The woman that, kind of raised him and cleaned his diaper. Yep, sure.
Yeah,
Cool.
I thought
Changed
that
his diaper.
that whole scene just felt strange to me, like the assassination attempt and the way it was played, and maybe that. I mean, I think maybe part of that is to show that this empire is different than the empire we last saw 138 years ago, as well. And I think there's more to unravel with that, but those scenes kind of threw me the most.
Real quick on the Empire side, it felt like what we're seeing, especially with that opening scene and everything, it felt like Roman times in terms of how Roman times have been played out in Hollywood, where it was very incestuous, messy, violent. When you compare the Empire of the first season, that feels more of this like sci-fi empire, where it's like this utopia. Things are the way they are, and sci-fi.
Yeah, so but these are the tones I got. Like from the first season, the Empire had some cracks, but there was still all-encompassing, strong, powerful, scary, right? Like the scene where he just flips his hands and he's like, everybody you knew to the gardener lady is now dead.
Great scene.
I was just like, holy fuck. Like, that's nuts, right? And then you don't get that sense, right? Which, again, I do feel is intentional.
Kill somebody with the
He did do that again.
finger
The
shadow guy.
The Shadow Master.
Yeah.
Which feels like G.I. Joe, right? Like, there's the ninjas that they have, and I think one of them
I know very little about G.I. Joe.
So I was like, G.I. Joe.
John Cena's in G.I. Joe?
No.
Channing
Tatum.
I always get them confused.
I mean,
This might be the first time, not the first time, but where there's three of us and it works well for the content that we're doing, because you two took the two parts that you guys were like, oh, this is the weakest part. I actually thought the weakest part was the Harry Seldon stuff. I was like, oh, okay, this is where it slows down for me. This was like, all right, well, I'm not really that interested in the Harry Seldon stuff. I was actually more interested in Empire and what was going on with Hardin and Gaal.
I was just thrown off by the Empire stuff, because it almost felt like the comic relief of the episode. Like it felt it's
funny to you. Is that it?
Well, it felt like lighthearted.
Sure.
Like more than we were kind of accustomed to in the first season.
Lighthearted.
Yeah, just the way Cleon the 17th was kind of acting. Like he was kind of like, he had this bravado. He was like a little bit.
He's like, look at my dick.
He was just like, I refuse.
He's
like,
winking at his younger self.
Yeah, like when
I
he's
see
in the
it. I
pool
see
and he's
it.
like, I refuse to be intoxicated. He's like, ow. You know, and I was just like, there's kind of like a little bit of like
it felt Marvel.
a little
A little bit of that stuff.
I wouldn't go
in the
that.
bathtub.
No, I wouldn't go Marvel.
With the joking and the timing, it felt.
But he's the
Marvel
most
jokes.
He's the most childish Cleon we've seen.
And I think it's I think all of that is intentional. I think all of the differences you see with the Empire this season are very intentional to show like this is a very different empire than we're used to, and to kind of show their downfall. Right, they're not in a good spot, as the narration has told us. As we know, they're losing their kind of control in the outer. Do they call it Outer Rim or Outer Reach in the show?
I don't think they call it either, but I don't know.
I think they just say the edge of the Empire.
They said they referred to it as something like the outer something, or even not outer
branches.
Oh, that's right. They talk about trunks
because they let it go, right? Yeah. There's that line where they're like, we let the outer. I think outer reaches. I think like we let the outer reaches go.
Branches.
Oh, branches. Outer branches. Maybe.
Well, that's what they were talking
Planets.
to in the end, when they are told that Foundation is still there and they're growing, and Cleon is to his brothers the older Dusk, right? Is talking about
Clean your
branches,
house.
and cleaning your house and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's a cleaner.
Oh boy.
I thought I don't know. It didn't seem very Marvel. It seemed, what's what's the word? Not cynical necessarily. Anyway, ominous. Like
Yeah.
the way he's acting is very egomaniacal, very like, nothing can touch me type
Right.
of
Yep.
thing.
Which is hilarious because he got shot at and he got cut.
But
Yeah.
I
Cut a few
I mean,
times,
I
yeah.
think but I thought the biggest difference was when that stuck out to me was when he said, "Please respect and enjoy the peace." The way he says it this time versus the way he said it in the last season is very different. There was a more ominous
edge.
and edgy tone to it, more of a bite.
The other thing I
Yep.
thought was interesting with the brothers too, in the first episode of season 1 and throughout the entire season, you consistently there's at least one dinner scene, except for when Cleon goes off planet to do the get sunburned. There's always like a dinner scene or some kind of eating scene where they're in unison. So we didn't see any of that this episode.
Well, I mean, obviously, it seems like if the defects have continued, they're
Yeah.
less and less in. They're different. They're more different now,
Right.
even than when they were. Because we don't actually know when the defects started.
right.
But at least it seems like there's
don't.
there's more. No,
I thought in the end of season 1, they're like they put this genetic defect and it affects every single.
They
thing
but they
from
said
here
they
on
don't
out.
know. But they don't. They said the robot specifically says she doesn't know when
Well,
they
no,
altered.
it's the Shadow Master.
The Shadow Master says
Right.
right. They don't know when they because it's in Cleon 1 that they affected. But he says we don't know when this happened. So he's like you could be affected too. The Lee-Pace Cleon as well.
But they said it's in Cleon 1.
Right.
But they don't know when they affected
when they
him.
put
they
messed up the
they
genetic
messed
material.
up his genetic material at some point.
Oh, right.
It wasn't from the start. It was at
Right.
some point.
Yeah.
Because
They don't know
they're
when.
based on they were each new Cleon is based on the original, not
Right.
like a
Right.
previous.
Right.
So if they
And
did it,
so they were perfect until that Cleon was infected.
They
or
infected.
genetically modified.
The Shadow Master says they infected Cleon
the
1's
original
genetic code
DNA content
at some point after he was dead. Like when he
after I was like, well, if they did it to Cleon 1, then they know
No,
exactly.
no,
what
We
it
don't
is.
know when they.
But we don't know
pumped
when
him.
they did it to the body, essentially.
Okay.
Another mystery to unravel.
Mystery
I
box.
suppose.
I mean, it doesn't really
Yeah.
matter per se, right?
Well, it
That's
doesn't.
not
right.
the point.
Yeah. It's
all-
just to show that they suck.
You suck,
They're
guys.
heading. They're on a roller coaster and they are about to crash.
Best laid plans.
What is it? What's the line? That reminds me of that line in Inception when Leo's talking to his wife. You're waiting for a train.
Waiting for a train.
Oh God!
That's what Empire's doing. They're basically just
Waiting for a train.
waiting,
Waiting
for a
for
train.
an explosion.
Well, I mean,
on your
right?
star
Like
bridge.
when their time is up, right? They go and they walk into that vaporizer.
They get vaporized.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Except that one Cleon who got his neck broken by the
Well,
woman
was he
he
really-
trusted.
He got vaporized.
So actually, let's
well,
talk.
but well, right,
can we
but
talk?
still
Because we
died the-
never really
break.
talked about it that much in the first season, I don't think, or in the season 1 pod that we did, where if her whole purpose is to protect Empire and the purity of Empire.
Yeah.
That's why she killed that Cleon, because he was defected, right? His genetic code was all altered, etc. So her programming kicked in and snapped his neck. How come she hasn't gone and done that to every single Cleon since that's like popped up? Like, are they? So I guess the question I have is like, are they keeping it a secret from her? Does she know, or she has to know?
She
right?
revealed it, I thought.
It was Shadow. I misspoke. It was Shadow Master who revealed it
Right.
to.
I don't think it's her she doesn't seem like she's run off of programming.
Yeah, she seems like she's evolved
She's
over that.
the deep state, so to speak.
I mean, that's true.
That's
Yeah,
what she's the continuing
Right,
consciousness.
thing.
And
Right.
she's the true continuing soul.
She's
Like,
the Empire.
Empire says in this one, I feel like a unique individual.
Right.
And he's one of the first ones possibly to say that. They all believe that they're just Cleon. But they're not, because we all know they each have their own soul
Wait,
We know that.
that God
What?
judges.
The fuck?
Oh dear.
Speaking of
PSA.
speaking of
what
souls,
now?
and that was actually a big theme. The fact that they are a genetic dynasty. There was the whole play and discussion around souls. We now know there is another egomaniac lunatic running around in this galaxy or universe or whatever. Harry, right?
Yeah.
We know at the end there's 2, potentially 3 versions of him running around. This was actually Arjuna's theory, so I'll let him take it from here.
Yeah, so watching the first season, right? So we know definitively there are two. There's the version that's on Terminus, which is the the
big pointy
capital?
thing.
the big pointy
Silo.
thing. The silo, yeah,
Yep.
the silo.
What qualifies something to be a silo? Could we say that's silo has to be underground, right?
I have no idea what the
I don't know
actual
if
textual
on the
I'm
ground
gonna
is
look
defining.
this up.
But yeah, he's on Terminus. That's the version that is based off of the that's the version from the body where he took the pill and it changed into the thing and got to the planet before they did.
Huh? Like I don't. What do you mean?
The version that's on Terminus. So you see in the flashbacks that his body like turns into
His coffin.
yeah, turns into that structure, but then lands on the planet before they get
Okay.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. It just. I didn't. Anyway. It wasn't clear.
Okay.
Now it is.
And then we have the version that was on the ship that that Gale gets onto. That was in the Dagger, the Dagger Harry, who was stabbed, and then in season 1 is on that ship, and it's like kind of corrupted, I guess.
He starts out corrupted because that version of Harry is the memory he has before being on that ship is being stabbed. So we can give him a little bit of a break.
Yeah, and
there.
he has the digital blood, and then he's on the ship, and he's heading to his home planet. And what he tells Gale about that, which again, we have to take with a big grain of salt everything Harry says, because we know he's a notorious liar, right? A lot of what he says isn't true. But he claims that the reason he's going to his home planet is to start a second foundation, right?
the real foundation.
Well, he calls it like a sister foundation.
Okay, well, I thought it was the real one. Again, everything taken
Everything, right?
It could be anything.
And then but Gale's like, well, you don't need me for your plan. I wasn't even supposed to be here. I'm out. She destroys the like temperature
control.
the temperature control on the ship, forces his hand, so he's like, okay, you can leave. But she takes the dagger. But Ravi and I rewatched the scene right before we started the pod. So you have like Harry in the hallway. You have Gale. She's going in. He's there. This digital avatar kind of walks away out of frame, and then she takes the dagger from the ship, from the door, and then goes into the pod. Now the thing we don't know is, does that take Harry out of the ship, or did that download Harry onto the ship, right? So is there a version still on the dagger and now on the ship, or is it just one Harry that was on the dagger and she took him away from the ship?
Did the ship survive? I thought the ship was gonna die.
The ship was...
It was a 50-50.
Yeah, the ship was going to be potentially fine.
Right,
So we
because
don't
it was
know.
the life support systems that she took off. So any humanoid
Yeah.
or organic thing would have fried, but anything digital or information-wise should have been okay. I think you're right. I think it's 3 people, because look at what Harry is wearing during Krishna's favorite scenes of this episode. He is wearing a white tunic, white shirt, which is very similar to what he was wearing on the ship when he was stabbed by Gale's boyfriend.
Thematically, it kind of makes sense too. If you're gonna have 3 Cleons, why not have 3 Harrys, right?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good point, actually.
Yeah, it sounds kind of awesome.
Unless it's a duality versus
Ooh, a tripality.
not trilogy.
Triad.
A
Triarch.
trilogy
Yeah,
of
triarch.
men.
Wait, don't they use that thing in Star Wars with Rey?
Triptych?
Tripdark. That sounds right.
Anyway, I don't know. That
What
Star
do you
Wars is
think
stupid.
these Harrys are, though? Because I think that's an interesting theory. I kind of got the impression that with Empire and Harry, since they're not in the books, that they represent ideas and
Like opposite ends.
well, not necessarily opposite, but competing ideas that the book is, like 2 competing themes that the books were trying to get across. So they personified them in characters, Empire and Harry.
Right.
I mean, Harry existed as the initial, but he's not in the whole thing.
Right.
Right, because he actually dies in the book.
Yeah, like
There's
all
no
of
like
these
digital
characters
consciousness.
Right.
are
Yeah.
whatever. But my impression was sort of like the Harrys exist where his influence is. So like they represent the ideas that he put onto these locations. So there's a Harry at Terminus because his ideas are guiding Terminus. There's a Harry with Gale because Harry's ideas are guiding Gale.
Right.
So I suppose there could be a third Harry if this were true.
Right.
If there's another place where Harry's
Is building a
ideas
foundation.
are
His home
affecting the
planet.
outcome of the human race.
Right.
His home planet, since that's where the dagger was going, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's where that ship was going. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, what we're
And I don't. I'm sorry, and I don't think it's by mistake that we got to see Harry's childhood in flashbacks.
oh,
in this
definitely
episode.
not.
Wait, and that you assume that's his home planet, right? That he's on. So maybe that's to establish that version of Harry. I don't know.
His dad seemed like a good guy.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
a great guy.
Yeah, really good guy. Hit a kid over ripping out a page from a book.
That he paid for.
It was expensive.
Yeah,
Fuck me, then.
it looked like nice
The
paper.
kid, young Harry wasn't going to learn, and Well, okay,
Nope.
push through. Never mind.
You know what? Let's really let's go back into his childhood because
Oh no.
no, this is like a legit thing. I'm not trying to be like a whatever here, but like, what happened in his childhood to make him so kind of like ego driven to think that like he has to have multiple versions of himself in order to save the human race? Like that's some crazy
It's all
like,
the math.
childhood
It's
shit,
the
right?
math. It's
It's
the
the math
math.
that drove him. to
Yeah.
do that?
Did-
Like,
Did he intend to have multiple versions of himself? I
at
thought
the
that was an
very least,
accident.
I think at the very least he intended to have two versions. One on Terminus, because that was his coffin and that's where it was going, and then the one on this ship going to his homeworld. So it was definitely at the very least two.
Well, I mean, as a math guy, he was just trying to increase the odds of success, and the best way to do that is divide and conquer. Or, to me, it sounds like he has one foundation, but if it fails, you have another one set up, right? And also, his goal isn't to save the human race; it's to shorten the upcoming dark ages,
Right.
right? That was his goal, to shorten it.
And as we learned, he may have elongated it.
Classic.
Classic white.
Oh man.
The world can't do anything without me in it.
And then I fucked it up.
And I fucked it up.
Whoopsie.
Hey, I know. Yeah, at this point, it's like if everything that they've done is elongating the dark period, they would have been better off doing nothing.
Yeah, which is oftentimes the case. I don't know. I have a hard time with the Harry stuff because it's like, since it seems like it's not a part of the books. Like it's hard to know like what is actually like some sort of planned intention and what is just them using a character as symbolism.
They're like, oh, we have Jared Harrison. We should use him more.
like
I do know the two foundations is from the book. I know that part is. So
But
at least that part is.
no, that's
canon.
true. But like in the book, he never planned to live forever or have like his consciousness moved anywhere. Like that whole thing is just
Kind of
for the
changes
show.
it.
Well, maybe
Right.
it plays upon the idea of like, just because we could, just because you could, should you? Like, just because you could keep a consciousness alive forever because you think
Well,
that
but here's the
it should be the savior, should you do it? And does that ultimately lead to the downfall anyway?
Yeah. I
well,
mean,
so you got to look though. His goal isn't to live forever. His goal is to shorten the dark period, and it's like I think the way to reframe the question is, if you knew a bad thing was coming in the future and you could stop it, right? Mm-hmm. Depending on what your personal bias is or how closely tied to that event you are, right? You might do something to try and stop it, right? And we see it over and over again. Intentions of men sometimes makes things worse. Sometimes it helps. Usually it's 50-50.
I have a rebuttal in the real world. Climate change.
Wait, what?
Personal interests, money,
because
money
Chris
will
is saying,
stop
like,
it every time.
You're 100% like that. Definitely, I'm just being a dick when I say climate change because it's one of those things where we've known about it. We could have done things to shorten it, if you will, or stop it. But
right, yeah.
we haven't done anything. So
we've done the opposite.
Money.
hey,
I mean,
I recycle once in a while. So
You also have solar panels and electric cars.
I do
so-
that for financial reasons only, not because I care about the environment.
Somewhere I read that even recycled stuff is just getting
No,
burned
it's
at this
if you want to
point.
make a big impact, you gotta pretty much like stop. Like people need to stop flying. Private jets need to be banned. Like the big stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody recycling is
Allegedly, stop eating meat.
okay. Christian,
No,
don't get
actually,
crazy.
yeah, no, they do produce a lot of methane.
Like the beef industry.
Yeah.
is like responsible for most of the deforestation in the world right now.
I mean that makes sense. So Arjuna's the good guy. We're all bad.
Well,
guys.
the fish is not like a.
You're a bad person.
A good
yeah,
market
yeah,
either.
yeah, and then also like
The fishing industry
basically
is real
producing
fucked.
food for a large amount of humans is destructive to the environment in some way. It's just how do you minimize the impact?
So then what I'm hearing is somebody should create a genetic dynasty and lead all of humanity.
Do you remember Thanos?
Yes.
Remember how his plan was just like we just kill half of everybody
instead of just doubling all the resources.
Right.
Don't put logic
We
into
gotta
this.
kill half the people, okay?
It's more dramatic.
Yeah, no. Well, what's more dramatic than suddenly having way too much stuff?
Having half the people to use the stuff.
Like, imagine this room just
love it.
exploded with twice as much stuff.
2 Megatrons.
2 Megatron, 6 cameras.
Two Arjunas, 2 Ravis.
2
But
Michaels.
you know what?
Overwhelming.
Back to the Thanos thing real quick.
Michael.
Technically, he did double the resources in just one snap. So maybe he was right.
You gotta give a little. You gotta take a little to give a little.
Exactly. You take an inch, you get a yard.
Hey, to quote that really great Disney Plus show, Hawkeye, Thanos was right.
Jesus.
Compared to Secret Invasion, Hawkeye is
A masterpiece.
Holy
Citizen
shit, are you
Kane.
serious?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
ugh,
It's so bad.
You know, for our listeners,
You
know,
guys
if-
have convinced me not to watch it.
for our
Please
li-
don't really. If you watch that show, I think it'll kill your spirit.
For our listeners,
It's
real
killed
quick.
mine.
For our
Same.
listeners, for our listeners, real quick. If you want us to do a Secret Invasion,
No,
comment, and if we get
1 million.
69
If we get a
comments.
single comment,
No,
no 6,900 comments saying we should, then Arjuna, Krishna, and Learman will be here. And I will produce it.
Yeah.
You can't do that and get back out of
I'm subbing
it.
out for that one.
Yeah, you can't back
you
get
out.
to
find someone
commenting and let's get this pot off the ground. I want to talk about Secret Invasion. I got opinions.
Just be a
Man,
hate
there's this thing
pod.
called Threads where you can just scream into the nether.
Well, yeah, no,
About
I
your
just scream
opinions.
into nothing there. Nobody hears me. Nobody responds.
What a painful show.
Wow. Foundation is less painful.
Yeah.
good.
And if we ever do a
less.
Secret Invasion pod, the suspense on whether we liked it will kill you.
Big time.
Spoiler alert.
Did we have bold predictions for the first season?
I couldn't find any written in the previous outlines.
Damn, that's bad on us.
Isn't that because I was in that pod and
Yeah.
not writing down
Right, probably.
predictions?
Oh.
Whoopsie.
So we could come up with new ones.
We'll come up
we
with-
could come up with old ones
What
too.
do you think we thought? The bold
Ooh, yeah,
predictions.
yeah.
Leave a comment in the comment section below.
Before we get into bold predictions, though, let's talk about qualifiers for season 2. What needs to happen? What needs to go right or wrong for you to say that this show was good season 2? Christian, kick us off.
Yeah. It's tough because obviously these are based on books. I haven't read the books. So I don't know. For me, it just needs to keep going with the interesting sci-fi scenarios. You know, I hope they don't stop them short. Like, I hope they realize the sci-fi scenarios like full potential. You know how like some shows they have a really good idea, but they don't fully explore it. They don't go all the way with it. You know, I just hope that they keep developing. Like, we keep seeing like this defect in the Cleons grow. You know, more of this interesting cryogenic sleep and time dilation, though that feels like it would be like a season 3 or a future season thing. So I hope they just keep going with that. Those interesting.
The show has been
sci-fi
renewed for a third
situations.
season, by the way.
Ooh.
Before the second season came out, it was renewed for a third season.
Oh, wow.
Well, there you go.
So
Cool.
that feels...
So we have at least this season and another season. Well,
Premature?
unless Apple TV, I mean, that has been happening more and more now with
Sure.
streaming services are canceling shows even after a season renewal. And even some networks and streaming services are canceling shows, even though they have said season in the can.
And we also have 2 strikes going on that could really affect.
Really affect it, and then really be like, you know what?
It's gonna be 5 years.
Never mind.
Wait,
It's gonna
what?
be 5 years.
Sorry, this is a tangent. What shows were renewed and then canceled?
There was one on AMC.
The Walking Dead.
No, it wasn't The
Yes,
Walking
yes,
Dead. There was like a drama show that they had filmed the full second season. It was supposed to come out, and then they canceled it. And Star Trek Prodigy, a Paramount Plus animated show, had a second season, and I don't think they had finished the season, but it was in full production. I think scripts were written. I think animation had been done, and then they canceled it, and now they're looking for a home for that second season.
You know that happened with
because it's
Clone
done.
Wars too, right? So
Yeah.
Clone Wars, they did all the previs stuff for
Season 7.
season 6, I think it was. This is before. This is when
right.
the Disney buying Lucasfilm had happened.
Yeah.
And then there was the deal with Cartoon Network, and they just kind of cut it
Right.
right then and there. So it happens all the time. But like to Lieberman's point, with the 2 strikes going on,
Yeah, I mean,
It's gonna be-
what
it's
does a
gonna be a
renewal really
delay.
mean anymore?
I think it means nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Real quick on the Star Wars Disney stuff. Have you guys been seeing that weird rumor of Disney is in financial trouble and might sell Star Wars back to George Lucas?
Now
keep
that
seeing-
is a wild. I've not heard that one.
I'm rooting for that.
I think it's completely disproven. It's just that people are. I don't know if the Disney financial thing is real or not, but people are saying that
well,
if there's a time that it could happen, now is the only time.
I don't think actually. You know what? I'm gonna eat this statement, but you know, Iger is gonna be supposedly getting a bonus of like $27 million this year. But again, corporations do always make sure that their CEOs are taken care of, even if they're in financial ruin.
The people up top are
I
always.
don't know if
always
that
in
means
a-
anything.
are
Actually.
always
So
in a good
Disney's been kind of on top of the world.
Yeah,
There's not really been anything that they've.
it's true.
I mean, sure, Indiana Jones didn't do great, but as we know, that doesn't mean it didn't do it well enough.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of movies this summer have not done well, right? The summer blockbuster season has been
Bad overall.
underwhelming
Yeah.
financially for a lot of
time.
these studios.
But there's a
lot of
difference between underwhelming and oh my god, the most powerful studio in Hollywood
Dead.
surely is in financial trouble.
Yeah.
Over, what, one movie?
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, and Indiana Jones, I think, did better. Break. It's not like they like.
I don't think they lost
money.
a bunch of money, and that's the same thing with Marvel movies, right? People are like, "Whoa, well, they're going to start being in trouble." Like, they're still making good money. They're still making profits off these movies. Now, the profit margins aren't as high as they used to be, right? That's falling, and they're probably want to course correct that, and that's why you're seeing the comments of like Bob Iger. I think recently is like, we have too much stuff on Disney Plus,
Yeah.
right? We have
Cutting
too many
back.
Marvel shows. We need to cut
Marvel
back.
and Star Wars. He has said
He's like, we got to
cutting
cut back.
back. He's also said with the Marvel stuff that they produced too much Marvel TV content, and that took the focus away from the films.
Yep.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we're done with Marvel Disney.
Don't worry,
Plus
there's still
shows.
18 episodes of Daredevil Born Again coming next year. So.
no.
Thank God.
Oh, wait.
I don't. Well, it's supposed to be totally different. The crew from the original one is all like, they didn't invite us back, so it's gonna suck. And I don't
mean,
know if that's true or not. But
That's. I mean, we saw Daredevil and She-Hulk, and
Spider-Man, No Way Home.
and I
No Way
thought that
Home.
was the best Daredevil I've seen. I
I
didn't.
mean,
I didn't like the Netflix show a whole lot.
I liked the first season of it, and then it just felt too dense.
Yeah.
And like very, very so. That's why I'm like 18 episodes. Oh my God.
Yeah.
There's a reason
then-
I don't like Law and Order.
Dun dun.
Dun, dun.
Just bring it back to Foundation. I mean, Apple, their content. You remember when Apple TV first came out, Ravi, and you were watching shows like C?
Oh, yeah.
And
What was the M. Night Shyamalan
What was the
one?
newsroom? The newsroom.
Oh,
Morning Show.
Morning Show.
I remember
Show?
that show.
And Ravi, you're like very much like, ooh, this is like a shaky start.
Yeah, it
Like,
was not
say what
a
you
good
will.
launch.
Apple TV
Apple's turned it around.
has some really strong television, like Severance.
Yeah, Severance,
Silo.
for All
I don't know if
Mankind.
you guys. I don't know guys that have started Hijack. Hijack might be the best thriller TV I've seen since 24. So much. I've had so much fun with that.
They also have some good comedy.
interesting-
They have some good comedy too. Like I really like Shrinking at the top of the year, the Harrison Ford one. Platonic with Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne was like a fun watch.
I couldn't get through the first episode.
Really?
It's just too much Seth Rogen. Like, I think the guy is funny, but with that show, it's just too much Seth Rogen.
Interesting.
I was like, I can't.
That show's hard because they're very toxic for each. Like they're like that's just like
It's kind of beef-esque, but in like a funnier way.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saving it to binge for some reason.
Oh,
now that
that's
I think
Platonic.
about it,
I liked
I'm
it week to week
"Ugh."
because it like the just 30 minutes a week with them was like just enough time, and then you could be like, okay, got my little fix. Now I can wait a week for them. to
Also,
come back.
don't they also have that after party show that everyone's been talking about?
Yeah, I've
I
started
haven't
the
seen
second season, and it's just not. We like started it, and then we were tired, and we just haven't gone back to it. And I'm like, it's because it's like not. It's not hitting the same for whatever reason.
As the first season.
But I mean, yeah, I think Apple TV in general has some like compelling stuff.
And you also have to remember, too, Apple TV being a international company can easily film their things outside of the United States.
Well.
So, I don't know.
Doesn't is SAG international?
SAG is the Screen Actors Guild of America.
No,
Now,
but
other guilds.
That's Saga. Saga.
I mean, there are other guilds like because House of the Dragon season 2 is filming still.
I think they
But
they
the
stopped
British,
a while ago.
the British guild Screen Actor equivalent is potentially they're going to strike in solidarity with the Screen Actors Guild.
I think House of the Dragon stopped recently.
Yeah, if they have American actors, they wouldn't be able. Like
I thought they
by
stopped during the writers'
international,
strike.
I mean,
Screen Rant
if
Larry
you're in
posted
SAG, you can't just go to London and be like, "I work here now,"
Yeah.
right?
Right,
Or
but
maybe
you can-
maybe I'm wrong.
you can recast.
Yeah,
I'm not in
Why
SAG. I'm
couldn't
only
you?
SAG eligible.
Oh, I think now's the time for you to join SAG.
Well, no, now's the time you should.
I mean, sure. Now I have an excuse not to go.
Yeah,
to
so here's the
auditions.
article. Variety posted this yesterday. House of the Dragon can continue filming in UK amid SAG after a strike due to local union rules. So
Oh.
they can keep going.
So this is the end of Hollywood, as in they're just gonna move overseas.
So Bollywood's gonna rise up. Shah Rukh Khan will star in everything.
He's the next Captain America.
He's the new Tom Cruise. He's gonna be in Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 2.
Wait, doesn't Shah Rukh Khan also like cigarettes too?
Yeah, he's like a notorious.
Yeah, smoker.
Heavy- chain smoker.
Yeah.
That's America.
If you actually watch his earlier movies in the 90s,
he was
his voice is completely different than
Oh,
it
wow.
is like after.
Damn.
cigarettes will do
Shut
that
up.
to you.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Don't smoke them.
Have you guys ever heard Miley Cyrus in an interview today versus like when she was younger?
Was she?
She's a heavy smoker too. She sounds really different. Even
I know
her
she was a
even her
smoker.
music sounds different too.
I only like when she
You also
does
your voice
covers
also
of Nine
changes
Inch Nails.
naturally as you get older.
It's more dramatic.
Yeah, that's
for-
why
for
people
Miley
complain
Cyrus.
about it. Harrison Ford in Indiana Jones.
Yeah, he did sound like himself.
I didn't notice. I want to go see it again so I can notice. I just was too
Well, it should be
distracted
a-
by his face
The
sliding
face being like,
off of his
Off
face.
of his face, yeah.
Just freezing like.
Well, don't worry. It should be out on Disney Plus any week now.
Any
I can't
day.
wait. I really enjoyed
Isn't
that.
The Flash coming digital like really soon?
Actually,
NFT.
Speaking of, did you guys see ABC is going to be airing like Miss Marvel on
Oh, wow.
the network just to fill programming?
Holy shit! This
Bob
is the end of the
Iger
streaming wars, huh?
Hates
Stunned.
streaming.
But it was his idea.
Was it?
He invested so much of like it was.
I thought that was the other guy.
JPEG?
no
Not
streaming,
Chapek, but another guy
streaming-
underneath.
He
him.
he
Another Bob?
brought in people to help develop the streaming stuff. Like that was one of his babies.
Wait, real
That's why I'm
quick.
confused when it's like he hates, but he
Yeah, no, I
was the
guess
one
you're-
that kicked
Well,
it
I
off.
do think they brought him back. I mean, now we're just like getting into speculation on entertainment
Bold
moguls.
predictions. Disney.
But I do think they brought him back because they were like, Iger, you need to like fix the bill and like
Correct.
cut
Yes.
some stuff,
Right.
right?
Yes.
Clean up your mess.
But here's my question that ties it back to Foundation, because the last two CEOs of Disney have been Bob Chapek, Bob Iger.
yeah.
Do we think they are Bob clones?
Oh
No,
Brother Bob.
They don't look
Brother
at all
Bob.
Brother
alike.
Bob. But it's the genetic difference, right? The original Bob, Walt, his genetic coding was different.
Holy
was
shit.
changed. But there's the rumor that his nose is frozen, right? Like underneath Disneyland or something.
No, his head.
Oh, right, his head.
Wait, I'm sorry. Wait. Did you say his nose? Where the fuck did you hear nose?
You know rumors. They twist and change.
Yeah.
What
It's like
websites are you
a
going to get
game of
these
telephone.
Bob
message changes.
or Walt Disney's nose is frozen under Disneyland. I love
Better than
that.
his ear.
Foundation. I'm gonna just say all the Cleons. That whole ceremony is exactly what happens with the Bobs of Disney. It's the same thing.
But Bob Iger is cool, and then Bob Chapek is a complete.
Well,
piece.
wait, hold on, Liverman. Did you see what he said?
Did
on
you see the young Cleon though? Like he wasn't that cool.
Yeah,
Could you
but
just say-
The one that died was pretty cool. I was rooting for him.
but with the Bob Iger stuff,
Yeah.
did you see the CNBC interview and what he said?
I see them all. No, I didn't.
Okay, so Iger did come out and say, I don't know
He's
if
a
you guys
clone?
heard about this, but Iger did say that the writers and the actors are being unrealistic with their demands.
Oh
Yeah.
boy.
Fuck Bob Iger.
He's a CEO, right?
Yeah, exactly.
CEO.
He's a CEO. He's
There's
gonna
no
do-
CEO
Yeah.
who's on the side of workers. Not a single one.
He's like,
Well,
I don't have to
don't know.
demand anything, and I get millions upon millions of dollars.
I get asked to come back and take on more money.
Yeah,
I
these
mean-
actors are just, if they're not getting paid, they're not wanted.
I think the CEOs want this strike, in like at least for a little bit. Like it helps them off. Like it's been reported for a long time now. All these streaming services the streaming services in particular, right? With all these shows, they've been losing money, right? None of them have turned a profit yet. None of them have. They've all been building their library with the idea of like we're gonna break even at some point. Like it's all gonna come together. At
some point.
it hasn't happened yet, right?
Right.
Like Netflix has always operated in a huge
The red,
deficit. Apple
yeah.
TV, because they signed those huge deals with all the like talent and different production companies, huge deficit to start. Disney Plus, huge deficit, right? Especially when you look at like the early budgets for some of the, like Falcon and the Winter Soldier had $120 million budget for
And
that show.
Nothing recoups costs like producing no content whatsoever. Like, I mean,
Well, no, it's tax write-offs. But
for what? They're not.
Well, they
there's
can-
no-
because
they
it's a
can't make anything.
product, can't
And
they
they're-
write like things that they don't put out?
And the very reason that the strikers are striking is so that they can get residuals on streaming, or that's one of the main reasons. So this is actually going to lose them a crap ton of money.
Well, that's. I mean, there's
Because they're gonna
nothing.
have to
There's
pay
unless-
higher residuals.
There's nothing though in place currently that allows them to get, decent or comparable residuals to if it was on like cable television.
Yeah.
But if they all of a sudden go they just say, you know what, fuck it, not as much content on stream, or just fuck the streaming model and just get rid of it, go back to the more traditional thing, then the residuals on streaming would be a moot point.
I mean, you're
because-
already seeing it, right? Like with Max, they're selling off content to
Yeah.
make money, right? Like they're just taking content off and selling it to other streaming companies so they can make money. Because they're like, we're not making money with this on our streaming service, so
Right.
give us the upfront money so we can
it
make
even.
some money, right?
Just put everything
But
on Apple
if
TV.
they're paying actors after the strike
Yeah.
residuals, they're going to make even less money off of streaming.
But they're not, at least at this moment.
Well, they're not going to make any money if there's no content.
I think they feel like they can, right? They feel like maybe we have enough content that people will just pay for it.
I mean,
think
if,
that's what
I
they're
if your
haven't heard
content,
that. I haven't heard.
but if
that.
your content is losing money,
Yeah.
right, then you're better off not making any content, because then you're not making or losing money.
no, then they're going to lose subscribers because they're not putting out any new content, so people will start canceling.
But here's the thing, you're right. But if they get rid of streaming completely, if they're spending more money than they're bringing in, they're at a loss. If you get rid of streaming, yes, they lose all the subscribers, but they won't be operating in the red. They won't be spending more money than they're bringing in for that product. So maybe this is like get rid of streaming, go back to cable television. 'Cause at least
Back to reality
everyone was
TV
getting
and
paid.
sports
'Cause
and
at least
news.
everyone at that point was getting paid, right?
That blows. No, I don't think so. But I'm not a
No,
financial
I'm not
person,
saying
but
that's what- I'm not
I
saying
think-
that's what I
I think
want,
you just
but-
stop why not just cancel Max? Why not just stop doing Max? If you're, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, if they really wanted to go back, they wouldn't need to orchestrate this whole strike. They would just stop their streaming companies.
I'm not saying it's a conspiracy theory to get rid of
Yeah,
streaming.
yeah.
I'm just saying that this is that's it's like, well, the strike is giving the CEOs and the people who are losing money or whatever time to sit there and think and be like, oh, you know what? Instead of losing money, we can just be not losing that much money by axing this whole thing.
I mean, I suppose it doesn't compute in my brain, but I'm not a financial analyst or a CEO.
Have you guys heard of the lizard people?
No.
I don't.
The secret overlords that run the world.
Yeah.
Secret Invasion.
Should we get back to qualifiers? For
We should
season-
probably get back to the
for
pod
season
and wrap
2 of
this up.
Foundation?
Again, I love it's like, oh yeah, this will be a quick pod.
My
You know why? Because we go off on tangents because
yeah.
we're not.
Yep. Judy, your qualifier for season 2 of Foundation.
My qualifier for season 2 is the scope. Just continue building the scope of the show, right? Season 1, you had a pretty ambitious story. At least it felt like to me, right, where you were kind of jumping through a few different times, these different Cleons, a couple different generations. You had a little bit of time jumping in the first few episodes, and then a little bit more of a consistent timeline than the big jump at the end of the season. So just continuing to build that scope, which already feels like it's happening, right? The Foundation on Terminus have grown. You have your two of your main characters now together. Mother, daughter, and time displaced. And all of that type of stuff. You have the multiple Harrys, you have the new Cleons and what's happening in the Empire. So just continue to build on that. And have fun with it.
Speaking of Cleon, I know he had his ears pierced.
Yeah.
Was his
Just
hair
one.
also dyed? Like, did he have like a blonde highlight thing going?
I didn't notice if he did. It looked similar.
But maybe that was
But
different.
maybe
for
there's
sure.
subtle differences.
Yeah.
Maybe they're trying to show there's like more of that different personality.
that individuality.
Lee
Yeah.
Pace looked noticeably, at least to me, and I was going to ask you, Arjuna, since you binged the original, he looked significantly thinner and older
Yeah.
He looked older.
than.
But I don't know.
I mean, still beautiful.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's just because it's been 2 years since the show came out. It was also probably like around a 2-year.
I mean, even Lee
difference.
Pace ages.
Yeah, exactly. So
as
it's
beautifully as he does it.
it's like
Even
that,
though he plays an elf.
and so I was wondering, like, it's kind of hard to get around that because even like it's always an interesting choice I find when like the season ends and begins and picks up with the same scene, but there's clearly like time that kind of moves, and they did that with Gaal and
Salvor.
and you could see Gale's like hair and everything was just like completely different in the season 2 than it was in season 1, because you just try to match that stuff as best as you can, but you probably try and tell your actors like stay in the same shape, do the same things, but like people age,
We're humans, not
change.
robots.
Yeah,
Carl's Jr.
Not
came
yet.
out with a new burger, so
Some of us have drug addictions.
yeah.
Wait, what? I mean, no, I do not have a drug addiction.
That's literally true.
I think for me, my qualifier is going to be pretty straightforward. I need at least 2 space battles.
Ooh.
Oh, with
Wait,
the
did we get any
the
in
Invictus?
season 1?
Yes, we got
drawing a
2.
blank.
We got 2 battles.
In
2
space?
space sequences. They weren't really battles. We have the first one, which was I think in episode 2, where they bomb those 2 planets, and they just kind of like nuke them. There's that one, and then the second one I would argue is towards the end when they have the Invictus ship and some of the other groups of people wherever are trying to board it, and there's like a little pew pew battle in space. Nothing crazy, but I want like 2 full on space battles at least.
I have an idea for bold predictions that's a little bit different. Instead of having it and I want to hear if you guys want to do this. Instead of having it be for the entire second season, what if our bold predictions were just on what is the second crisis point?
Well, you know what it is.
What is it?
Yeah, what is it?
It's the battle at Terminus.
I mean, that's what the trailer makes it out to be.
Oh, I haven't seen the trailer.
Oh.
Oh, whoops.
Yep.
All right.
Well, never mind. My plan is moot.
Continue.
Sorry.
Instead of the second, let's predict the 69th crisis.
I mean, it's also,
Ooh.
to be fair, though, even if you didn't see the trailer, it is kind of foreshadowed pretty heavily, where we do get that one sequence where they're at Terminus. We have the voiceover. You see that Harry's thing is lighting up the sky and everything. So they're prepared for
It's,
war.
yeah, and it's also fairly obvious, right? Like,
Yeah.
Foundation has been set up as the antithesis, sort of, to the Empire, and as Empire gets more crazy, a clash seems inevitable. So.
Right.
I like the
Yeah.
idea that Krishna sees the Foundation as the antagonist. And the Empire is the protagonist.
wait, Christian's like, I'm
Lee
the
Pace can't be a
Empire?
bad guy.
Lee
He just
Pace
can't.
is the real hero.
Well, no, but to
Yeah.
be fair though,
Yeah,
that's the one thing that the first season did really, really well, where I shouldn't have been rooting for the fall of I should be rooting for the fall of Empire. And when they had the whole storyline of the corruption and fucking up the Empire, I was like, no, I want them to be perfect, even though they're terrible.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, yeah, this is great.
I don't know why, but
They're compelling, but I don't root for them.
I was actively rooting for them.
Oh, interesting.
I like Dusk a lot. Or
Yeah.
at least in season
Dusk.
1. So
Yeah,
far in
I
season
agree.
2, not so much.
We haven't got a whole lot. He's got
because the Dusk of season 1 is the one that blew up was the one that blew up the planets.
There's several Dusks in season 1.
Well, I guess
Yeah, there's like three, right?
but the later Dusk, the
Right.
majority Dusk, is the guy who
decided to go against
who was like
logic.
he was like when the Star Bridge blew up, he's like,
Right.
yeah, let's just kill everybody.
Let's just prove.
And then he did the bird drawing with to out his clone, and was like,
Yeah.
"You're disgusting termite piece of shit."
that was nuts.
Honestly, it's interesting. Empire is complicated because there's multiple versions of him, right? And first of all, shout out to all those actors, all three of them, who played the different versions because they're all a little bit different.
Don't forget about the
personalities,
baby.
the habits. The baby was a great actor.
And there's a toddler actor, right, or a kid,
a 9,
yeah, in the
10-year-old.
first or second.
Oh,
in the
yeah.
first
Yeah, yeah.
You don't really see him after.
He's the one that becomes the Empire that does the religious walk.
Yeah.
Right, and he's the
So-
one that sees his.
Cleon the
Dusk.
13th.
I thought
believe?
the
Maybe.
kid was the one who did the blowing up of the planets.
No, that was Cleon.
That was
They're
Cleon.
all Cleon.
Well,
Cleon. So
the
They're
main
all
guy.
Cleon.
Cleon
on
the
this
12th.
blessed day.
So I believe it's Cleon the 12th is the one that blows up the planets, who is Brother Dusk for
The
majority
majority.
of the second half of the first season, who is the one that finds out about the genetic defect in Brother Dawn
Mm-hmm.
and does the painting and the hunting and everything. Is that
so
one.
So
And
I
then
was
the
just
kid
gonna-
is Cleon the 13th, who does the religious walk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I was just gonna say, in every iteration of Empire, there's at least one who seems a little bit relatable or likable. And even in this first episode, it seems like the younger Cleon is the one who you're like, oh, that might be the one to root for. So that's why it's complicated, right? That's why it's you do root for Empire, you root for a version of Empire or one of the iterations, Dusk, Dawn, or Day. So
as one
and
does
that's great.
with their actual leaders, is hope for the good version.
Yeah.
And for an ideal version.
So
Yes.
let's get into bold predictions. I'm going to steal everybody's. Damn it! I actually lost it. I had it. It was so good.
There's a
There's a third
sister
Harry.
day.
Oh no! Here it is. Here it is. Back to my qualifiers about the 2 space battles. I think just before the mid-season point, the Cleons are going to send a fleet
and
out
Invictus.
out to go attack Terminus and Invictus and everything, and it's going to get just fucking slaughtered, just completely destroyed.
The fleet or the Terminus?
The Empire's fleet.
Oh, okay.
And Terminus is going to come out on top strong or whatever. And they're going to do this. And I think it's not all three of them, laterally. Day is going to go do it in secret or whatever. Similar to what happened in the first season where they went and bombed those planets, even though that probably wasn't the best idea. He's going to go send a ship or something, or a fleet early on, and it's going to get completely wiped. And then the season will end with Terminus being destroyed somehow
Nice.
from the aliens.
I wonder if they have multiple ships at this point.
I would imagine. Well, they had landing pads
Yeah.
when you saw New Terminus.
How many ships they have?
4.
Do they have more Invictus type ships too?
That's true. Well, doubtful because the Invictus was a one of a kind type ship.
Yeah, but their whole intention of like also getting that ship was they wanted to make more of these types of like warships too.
That's crazy.
Did they get it?
They do have it, yeah.
Yeah, remember there's a shot you see it just
I
kind
don't
of floating.
remember. I thought it was destroyed for some reason.
When this this episode,
2 premiere.
you see when they go to the Terminus planet, you see the Invictus in orbit.
It's in orbit.
Just
It's
kinda floating
it's
around.
floating around.
It's
yeah.
the thing with the 3 rings, all kind of like
Yeah, I guess I
ring,
didn't see
ring,
it.
ring around the rosy. But anyway, that's
3
my
rings.
my-
Oh, do you think there's 3 rings for a reason? Because it's also like the 3 days.
It's actually to do with
the 3
orbit and
Harrys.
gravity.
I thought it was flat Earth theory.
Krisha, your bold prediction, or June, if you have one.
I'll go next. I think we're going to get a little bit of a time jump. I think like a few months or maybe a few years, however long it takes for Day to marry and have a child. And then I think Day will continue his descent into madness and have his cloned or have Dusk and Dawn executed. And the Empire will continue through a bloodline instead of a genetic line.
Some Game of Thrones palace intrigue, eh?
Yes, I think that, and I think we'll see that this season. I think
Robotic
maybe
dragons.
I think maybe that's how it culminates. Maybe that's like the final episode is like he has this kid,
Yeah.
and then he's like, "Oh, what is this? This is an interesting feeling," and that paternal. I don't know if it's paternal is the right word, but that I don't know that drive that most humans have to continue your bloodline, and he's gonna axe his genetic brothers.
Oh man. Oh,
That's
can I
interesting.
tack on a little bit to that one?
Sure.
I don't think though it's going to be just a traditional bloodline. I think though the Cleons, basically they're going to try and get rid of that kid, right? And that kid's
Ooh.
going to like run away and have a secret thing, and then the next season is like a couple hundred years later, and the Empire's truly fractured because you have people
Oh.
following that kid and that descendant, and then the Cleons are still trying to grasp for some kind of power.
That's cool. So you'd have like a genetic
Yeah.
line versus the bloodline.
Right.
That's cool.
Yeah, that kind of relates to my bold prediction. My bold prediction was like we're gonna jump thousands of years.
Ooh.
By the end of this season, and we're gonna have even less characters. Like we'll probably still have Android Lady around. We'll probably still have Harry around. We'll probably still have Cleon, some version of a Cleon
Right.
around.
Yeah.
But maybe beyond that, and maybe we have like one of Gale or Salvor still around because maybe they do like a what's
Cryogenic.
cryo sleep or whatever. But again, it'll be like another new cast essentially. I think each season or even like end of season will always have these kind of big jumps, and I think because like maybe it was 130 years before, then we're gonna have like an even bigger jump,
Yeah.
which is gonna go either like the whole universe is like at the brink of
Something.
ending,
Yeah.
or something.
Because how long does anyone remember how long Harry said that the darkness would last? Like 10,000 years or something, or was it a couple hundred? It was thousands.
That's
of
a
years,
really
right?
good. Yeah.
I can't remember.
I don't know the exact number, but it was implied that it was at least tens of thousands of years, if not hundreds.
It's interesting, yeah, and it's like he talks of it. It's inevitable, right? Like it is coming no matter what they do.
Thanos.
Did they to those who recently rewatched season 1, did Harry ever give any specifics of what that entails? Does the dark period mean like going like technology reduces?
No.
Yes.
No.
But he also said 10,000 worlds reduced to ash.
Right.
Yeah.
So he said that, but he also said that like there would be interstellar warfare.
Yeah.
Consistently, like just nonstop.
Basically like Armageddon, and there's only like not a lot of people survive. Enough to at least keep the race going, but putting them back, basically
hundreds of thousands. of
Yeah,
years or
exactly.
whatever.
Let's
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
This is what's going to actually happen. All right, guys. Season 3 is actually going to be, and this was because of the writer and actor strike.
a farming movie.
It's
a
basically
farming show.
No, it's basically going to be a YouTuber. He's given basically nice camera gearing equipment, and it's basically a YouTuber who is present day and is retelling the story of what happened. And it's just that's it.
30,000 years.
Go.
No, that's how
30,000
long.
years.
No, exactly. But exactly.
No,
that's
Harry's original prediction
was 30,000 years.
And he said if they
okay.
they could cut it to like a few
100.
So like
hundred.
4,000.
Oh, 4,000. Yeah.
Oh
Like,
wow.
Yeah, it wasn't like still great.
Yeah. It was the better of two bad options.
I don't know. 4,000 years. That's like a drop in the bucket.
It's like,
you
hey,
know? You might be a little older.
I have 2 plates of food. One will give you food poisoning for 10 years, but this other one will only give you food poisoning for 2 years.
Oh yeah.
You get up
Well,
and walk away.
You're taking the
Nope,
2
you
year
have to eat one.
But it still
These are the only 2
sucks.
pieces
I'm
of
pretty
food
sure
you can
food
eat.
poisoning lasts longer than like a day, and you're not hospitalized. You're dead from the dehydration.
It was a bad example, but that was the example I went with, and I committed, and I went with it.
Boom. I was gonna say
Diarrhea would be the
something, now I
same way
forgot.
too. So I don't know.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Remember, Krishna, remember.
You had a thought, or you forgot your thought?
Remember
I
it.
had a thought and I forgot.
No, you don't. It's right there. Remember it. You got it.
Remember
Now
Mufasa.
say it. Now say it. Just say it. Believe that you remember it as you start to speak, and it will come out.
Okay. Yeah. No. Let's try this. Harry Seldon is a bad man. That was not my thought.
I actually have
well,
I have
we
a second
tried.
bold prediction, if I'm allowed to share it.
No.
Okay.
Oh, you didn't give one yet?
No, I
thought
did. I just had a second one that popped into my head.
All right, let's hear it.
Actually, technically, this would be your third one because your other bold prediction there's going to be 3 Harrys. So,
Oh, I guess that was a bold prediction.
so go ahead, give us your third one.
Okay,
Be a
my
Cleon.
third bold prediction
Cleon.
is we will find out who has been orchestrating the rebel movements in the Empire, right? With the Star Bridge blowing up, with the Cleon stuff going on, and it will be a Cleon.
Harry.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Oh.
We didn't find out who did the Star Bridge?
Nope.
In season 1?
Well, we kind of did.
I thought we did.
It was just an out, like an out
It was a
group.
group.
It was a group of like just general
Rebel
rebels,
insurgents.
Yeah, insurgents or whatever.
Yeah, we saw them do it.
Remember, there was a whole sequence in the first
I
season
don't
where
remember that.
they go and they shoot all the people that helped put the bombs in them.
But I thought they
And they
weren't.
were
But they couldn't
related
prove.
to- that's
I
why
thought they
they
couldn't
end up-
prove they were actually the people that did it.
But then isn't
They
that
did.
also why they blew up those 2 planets? Because those 2 planets worked together to then blow up the
Well,
Sky
but
Bridge.
no. But they say like we didn't do it, and they were like, yeah, you
Yeah,
didn't.
he believes them.
Right, but he knows that some of their people did it. Just
Yeah.
because, so he was being very extreme where he's punishing.
Blunt.
He's
Yeah.
just being blunt. He's punishing
okay.
everyone on the planets, even though like the governments of those planets had no idea this was going
I read
on.
it differently. At least how I interpreted it, and maybe I'm completely wrong, but
Yeah.
I interpreted it as like they did all this investigation and nothing was conclusive, and then they're just like, we're just gonna kill all these.
I mean, it
people.
works both ways.
Yeah.
Right? It's still a very blunt, over the top response. You know, but again, he was trying to he rules, or they rule with fear, right? So even though they don't know precisely, and they probably killed most of them or whatever, and whatnot, they still said, "Do this, and this is what happens."
Also, the show seems to be working in broader strokes than that. So it's like I don't know because of like, and I think one example of that is like the big time jumps, right? Like you said. And so as you have these big time jumps, like the individuals become way less important.
But it could be
It's
the
more of the
ideology,
idea.
right? Because it's all about
Yeah.
the ideologies. So maybe there is like another ideology that we haven't been presented yet.
Like a more organized one other
Yeah.
than just some insurgents.
Right, because you have like the Harry ideology that is like the
Save.
foundation,
Right.
preservation. You have the Empire ideology, which is
So you
control.
think a third one will rise.
And
or
this
reveal.
third one, is, yeah, maybe there is this third one, right? Because the show clearly likes the number 3, and
So maybe it's Harry, and it was truly Harry all along.
It-
Because remember, they arrest Gale and Harry after the bombing
They believe that
because they believe that they were
yeah.
part of it, which would make sense to like prove a point. Like, look, my math is right, but I want to like prove
Speed it
it.
up.
it's like a math test, right? They're like, you can't just have the answer.
Sure, you have
So wait,
to
are you
show
saying-
Show
how
your
you
work.
got there.
So are you saying, because this would be an interesting bold prediction, Harry is the chicken and the egg. He predicted the fall, he predicted the Dark Ages and then the fall of it, and he's like, to make this prediction come true, I have to do this.
Right.
In order for my math to be correct. I don't know. Maybe there's like a weird paradox there.
Most likely, though, he ordered the chicken and the egg at the same time on Amazon, and
What is
depending
the-
on which one gets
What
there
is the
first,
Star
he'll let
Wars
us know.
quote? What is the Star Wars quote where it's like, "We are the fire that lights the resistance"?
Are you talking
the
Poe?
Poe?
With a spark.
The spark
that
lights the
lights
fire of the resistance or whatever?
Right.
That's
fires
Harry.
the spark of the.
And I mean, I don't think that's wrong because Harry isn't a rebellion. He's there to preserve and save. And
Sure.
The Empire is the oppressive force that he sort of works against. But I think in that sense, there's that third group that is the reason Empire will fall. Harry's not going to take the Empire
Right.
down. He just said the Empire would fall.
Right.
So I think there is that third faction that represents, while they may not be at all related,
Right.
they represent the idea that people will always try and take down.
And that ideology will be portrayed
Maybe it's like-
by
Maybe it's
Jude
related
Law.
to the Outer Worlds thing. So I looked it up. It was not the Outer Reach, not that it's
Outer
the Outer
Worlds.
Worlds.
I like that.
makes
Out of
sense.
world.
Out
of this world. All right, we've talked way too long about way too many different things. We're going to let you, the viewer and listener, leave. But first, we're going to answer the big question. Arjuna, why didn't you wear a suit today? It was too hot.
Yeah, you did say you wear suits now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
that was
guys, I
literally
was
just
quoting.
lie?
I was
Did
quoting
you
the
lie?
bear. It was a part of the bear pod. Go watch our pod on the bear. It was a fantastic pod, fantastic show. It was
And
great.
Arjuna is wearing a suit.
I wore a suit that one. I dressed
Can people
up.
on the show really, like we're on the pod, can we really be like, it was an amazing pod, the best pod there ever was?
I think he's talking about the show, The Bear, right?
I know our pod. I thought we had
Okay. I mean, it was a good pod. Yeah.
You guys have to believe in yourselves. Come on, we gotta pump ourselves up here.
Be Harrison Ford. Don't be Shia LaBeouf.
Oh, okay. That's a good one. That's a good
Don't be
quote.
shy,
You should make T-shirts.
LaBeouf.
Anyway, Arjuna was Foundation, Season 2, Episode 1, Cleon fucks back.
When
You know,
put
did
it
he-
like that.
Oh, I'm not gonna say that's inappropriate. The show was the episode. The episode was good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the show. Enjoyed the premiere. Excited to watch this season week to week as it goes instead of doing it as a binge. I think it'll be enjoyable, and I'm excited. Krishna was Foundation Season 2, Episode 1. Good.
It was very good. The first episode accomplished its mission, which is getting you right back into this universe. And it did that for me. And I think it sets up a lot of interesting scenarios to come. So I am excited. And that is the point of a premiere. And
It excites you.
Excited
excites
for the
me.
things to come.
Yes. And as long as we get
Ejaculation
more
of
Naked
joy.
Lee pace,
Volcanic eruptions.
Okay. Wait, did he come?
I don't know.
He said he was
He
close.
was close.
But did he?
It was a frightened come if it was anything.
yeah, it would have been a
was
shy
like
call.
A little squirk of fright.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Ravi was episode 1 of season 2 of The Foundation good?
Yes, it was good.
Oh, I'm shocked. I thought you were
Yeah.
going to go no.
No, I mean, again, pacing was whatever, but to Christian's point, like it was a good way to like be thrown back into this. And the one thing that a lot of the producers and creators were saying before this dropped was like it is going to look and feel different. And we didn't even really talk about the visuals and just it does feel when you look at it just different from the first season. It does feel bigger. So as long as that continues going, like I'm not worried that the season's going to be like oh my god, I hated every moment of it.
Are you
So-
guys going to watch it week to week, or do you think you're going to like wait to kind of
Week to
binge a
week.
few
Week to
episodes?
week.
Okay.
Because I think me and Ravi, I think we watched almost every episode as soon as it dropped.
Yeah.
When I was living
Yeah.
with you guys, week to week was very enjoyable. If you can watch it week to week with someone, because then you'll spend 30 minutes afterwards just theorizing.
Yeah.
That was fun.
I mean, I can watch it by myself. I like to talk to myself.
You know,
You do.
even though that we're all in different locations, we could do Apple's Share Play and all be on a FaceTime call like a bunch of fucking weirdos and watching it.
I'm down. Might make it bearable.
Ooh,
Spicy.
spicy.
Actually, yeah, if you guys are down, I'm down for that.
That'd be fun.
Try
That'd
it
be fun.
once.
Yeah, try it once.
Try
Never
it once.
again.
Then I'm never doing it.
You
This is
know,
gonna be one of those
we're in
things-
different times.
Well, it comes out on
Yeah.
Friday, so it's like you got to find a time.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
everything.
Exactly.
Well, Thursday at 9 p.m., so we could do like Thursday nights.
I have nothing to do on Thursday or Friday.
Well, actually, it
or
comes out like
Saturday.
Thursday at 6.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, Friday actually I do.
Yeah. So we could do Thursdays. Okay, cool. So we'll do that. Well, that's going to do it for us here on our podcast, the Was It Good podcast. We just reviewed Foundation Season 2. As always, you can find full episodes of the podcast on Was It Good? Nope, on youtube.com/wasitgood. Definitely check out our website, wasitgood.info. And we are on the socials on Threads, TikTok, Instagram at wasitgoodpod. We'll be
and on
back.
Twitter still.
And on Twitter still for some reason at Was It Good. We will be back next week early with a podcast on Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. And we'll also be at Comic-Con in San Diego. So if you're down there, come find us and say hi.
The whale's vagina.
Thank you, Ron. No, not Ron
Burgundy.
Swanson. Ron Burgundy, not Ron Swanson. Ron Swanson.
Burgundy?
Burgundy. Yeah. Anyway, good day.